Hey guys, I was thinking about it and I was realizing that it may be a little bit difficult to knock out what we had planned in the next couple weeks. I feel like we made a very ambitious project and quite frankly, I like it, but we have this week, then we have the spring break week, and then we have the final week, and during that time we also have to complete the design doc and then the individual design docs. And I feel like this idea, while I was definitely pushing for it, I feel like I kind of faltered and pushed us in a direction that may not have been helpful because, yeah, I feel like a lot of the work that we'd be doing in this project is not the work that he'd be looking for. And considering the fact that he was very specific about encouraging us to decrease the scope of this couple week project, and also considering the fact that the content of this project, if not done justice, actually kind of undermines the point by rushing through and not properly representing people. I feel like we may have to rethink things, and I once again extremely apologize about wasting everyone's time by pushing us into a direction that may not have been wise. Um, I just have to apologize for that, for my role in that. But I'm not necessarily one to talk down an idea without offering a solution, and so this is what I was thinking in response. I thought maybe we can lean back into what I think Fernanda proposed, which is that, or actually what both of you guys proposed, which is that we look at the missions and we actually take them on a tour of it. Um, and I was thinking a way that might actually be helpful for me is that if we can do it in virtual reality, which I have experience in working with, and it actually be a very minor tweak from what we did in the second week, which is the creating the world one. And so these are some content standards that we could potentially use in that. Corroborate accounts by the Kumeyaay, Copeño, Luceño, and Tongva people about how they're treated under the Spanish encomienda system using archaeological and architectural evidence. So I'll show you what that means in a second. Contrast the portrayal encomienda system by the Spanish against the indigenous written accounts and empirical corroborating evidence. Evaluate the merits of how California's fourth grade curriculum teaches about the missions. So this is them applying previous knowledge to current knowledge. I would be teaching fourth graders, but they'd all had fourth grade history where they had learned a glamorized version of the encomienda system without realizing that they were learning about slavery. And so I feel like I'd want them to rethink about how they previously learned about things. And then this one, I'm not sure if we can fit into the game, but maybe we can include in the design doc, which is that create a new fourth grade curriculum that better aligns with historical reality. Once again, I don't think that could fit in the game, but maybe after playing the game, the game could lead them into that, and then we can include that information in the design doc. And then last one, compare and contrast encomienda system of the Spanish to the slave trade system of the American South. And this one relies on previous knowledge. I'm not sure how to approach that, but I just wanted to include that so you understand my thought process. And so you're probably wondering, this seems like just as much work. Well, we have a shortcut in this, which is that I was able to extract the 3D model data from the California missions, and we already have 3D models. So here we have an example of them. I've got 2 total. I think I can get 3, and so we'd align them right here. It's a 3D model. It would need to be touched up because it was scanned. And because it was scanned from real life, we have things like a school bus that's somewhere in here. Where's the school bus? Yeah. So we'd have to remove that, and we'd remove it in the same way that we remove things with the train tool in week 2. So we just like lower it, raise it, etc., paint over it. And so this would need to be touched up a little bit, but the heavy work is there. So what we do is in virtual reality, we bring them down to the right size, let them walk around in this virtual world. But once again, we'd have to clean it up. But we have the basis of the 3D models already there. It's wonderful. And just so you have an understanding of what the gameplay could potentially look like, Fernanda had pitched this, and I was a little wary of it, but I saw an example recently of it working really well. And so this is an example of how to navigate just exploring virtual reality of a virtual world in an educational way. So this is an example from, one second, let me decrease the volume. This is an example from the video game Assassin's Creed, which has an educational edition, which I actually use in my classroom, where you freely explore the 3D architecture of an area. So this game takes place in ancient Greece, and so the educational edition lets you explore ancient Greece and is educational. So if you'll see, you talk to an NPC, and then in the 3D space, it lights up with these pillars all over the place, places that you should go, or if you go there, there's things to do. And so you can go anywhere and do anything, but the guide, the person right there, is telling you to go to those glowing spots. And so here I am in this virtual world. For educational purposes, we probably keep it like they're first person, especially since we know how to do first person a little bit better than third person. But yeah, we keep it right there, and you walk around, you get to live in this world, see what it looks like, etc. And then to learn about something, you'd go into it, and you'd be guided about it.
Ceremony for the participating athletes, trainers, and judges. The ceremony took place in front of the altar of Zeus Horcius, or Zeus of the Oath. Athletes would swear that they would follow the Olympic rules, while judges promised to be fair and unbiased. Then the competitions began, starting with a contest between heralds and trumpeters over who would have the privilege of announcing the games. The first day's athletic competitions consisted of wrestling, running, and boxing events for the youngest athletes, aged 12 to 18.
Okay, and then you'll see that once you do one tour, get out of that, sorry. Once you do one tour, it gives you a line of where to go, but you can go anywhere and do anything, but there's a recommended line path. And so the gameplay would be exploration, which is an intrinsic motivator, which we've read all about how efficient that is. One second, let me move it over in case you can't hear me. So it encourages discovery, encourages exploration, and because part of the content standard would be using architecture, there's a lot we can talk about with Spanish architecture that reveals intentions. For example, like why were the slave housing right next to the vineyard? Is because they were trying to keep them in inebriated states. Why was the church in the center of the work field? Because that's where they would account for everyone. Things like that. And so I'd be happy to be the subject matter expert, really flesh this out, because I feel like that's where I could help. And I think this would be helpful because this allows talking to NPCs, this allows all that, and the gameplay would be not only exploring, but also once you go to all the different tours, you would pass the test. I could show you that in this, but I feel like that would just take too long to go to all the different ones.
The second day began with a grand procession into the Hippodrome to celebrate the start of the popular equestrian events. The most anticipated and spectacular of these was the Quadriga, a four-horse...
And so, obviously we'd have to limit this to the scope of a couple weeks, but I feel like this is a much more approachable way to do things while covering the same content without risking disrepresenting people, and I feel like this is just a little bit more in line with the amount of time that we have. Once again, I do apologize for my role in having this full meeting where we're dove into an idea that may be a little bit too ambitious, but I feel like this is a little bit more in line with it. Oh, and just one more thing, just so you understand virtual reality. This is the virtual reality template, so we're already in VR mode right here. If we hit play, I'm not sure if it'll work while I'm recording. Let's see. No, it's not going to work while I'm recording. But if we hit play in virtual reality, we just be set in. I've got a virtual reality device to test it out, but honestly, in terms of programming, it'd really just be the same thing as creating the 3D virtual world, just in a different VR, in a different template. So just think like what we did with Tweet 2. So like we still have to create a player and all that, which I haven't done over here. Okay, that's my thought process. Feel free to respond with you don't have to make a YouTube video like I'm doing, it's just my phone can't send video messages. So this is the most efficient way for me to, just have a full thought before we meet again. Hopefully it was clear. Let me know if you have any questions. Alright, thank you guys.